Have you ever said, I promise, and said you would do something and then not follow through on the commitment? The words I promise carry weight and responsibility because you're either committing to do something or you're exclaiming the words you're saying are completely true. We're in a series entitled Words. In the first two episodes, we talked about the power of words and the purpose of words. In this episode, I want to talk to you about the promise of words. The word promise means that you're declaring that something is true or it will definitely happen. It is a word of commitment. When two people get married, they promise to love each other in and through any circumstance until they die. They make a pledge of commitment. When a person says they will do something, they're making a promise to follow through on that commitment. Our words should mean something to the person we're speaking to. And when we speak to ourselves through our own self-talk, we should believe what we are saying and not just quote shallow cliches that have no meaning or impact in our lives. And what is a promise? I love this practical definition of the word promise. A promise is something that will happen as a result of something that is said. Psalm 12:6 declares, "And the words of the Lord are flawless, like silver purified in a crucible, like gold refined 7 times." In Isaiah 55:11, God says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." The promise of words can have a transformational impact in the lives of other people if we consider carefully what we need to say. Here are 3 things that the promise of words should generate. First, the promise of words should encourage a response versus a reaction. As a coach or a leader, you can say things that will get a reaction, but reactions are temporary and may not produce a positive action or a long-term result. The best leaders and coaches choose their words wisely to nurture a response which produces a posture of growth versus just a reactive gesture in the moment. Many times this involves thinking in terms of production capacity and not just production. A good coach or leader can get a team to produce, especially in the short term. But a great coach and leader focuses on building the production capacity of the team through developing the capabilities of the individuals of the team and the team as a whole. And one of the ways this is done is by teaching versus telling. Leaders who are distant tell others what to do, but don't take responsibility for teaching and sharing their experiences to help others grow. The best leaders, however, develop a teachable point of view and share that early and often with their team to nurture and generate the best response. The second thing is that the promise of your words should nurture a transformation versus just delivering a transaction. If you think about your own self-talk, you can say things to yourself that will yield an action or a transaction in the moment. Run faster, play better, don't mess up. All of these are phrases that you can use with varying degrees of impact and results. The best athletes and leaders choose words that will nurture and generate a posture of long-term transformation, providing a model of consistency in their performance and a foundation of confidence that's built on the right things. Regarding your own self-talk, what words do you need to eliminate from your vocabulary? And what words do you need to add to your vocabulary? When you think about your influence and leadership, what kind of feedback do you need to give to others that will help them grow and become their best? In our workshops and retreats and coaching, we often teach leaders to give feedback that is specific, timely, relevant, and productive or helpful. As a consultant, I've had the opportunity to work with many companies and organizations, and you'd be surprised and shocked at some of the feedback that people actually give in leadership positions that does not meet this criteria. It's not specific or timely or relevant, and certainly not productive or helpful. In fact, it can be very destructive, and then these same leaders wonder why they are not a high-performing organization and achieving the results that they had planned for. If we are breathing, we must use our words to achieve the promise of transformation in the lives of others. The third thing is the promise of your words should build enduring trust built on a solid foundation of truth and integrity. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." Obviously, our actions should align with our words, and that is what integrity is all about. If we say we're going to do something, we need to follow through and do it. And if we don't do something we promise to do, we need to take responsibility and own it. and take the next step to fulfill that promise through our actions. In this way, both our words and our actions build trust with others. We must also leverage this principle in building trust with ourselves. In my work in coaching athletes and business leaders, self-talk based on the right words and commitments is essential to taking the right actions. You build trust with yourself when you have the confidence to commit and the trust to follow through. In practice, in games, and in an opportunity to offer encouragement and wisdom to your team. And in and through all of the moments that God has given us, we must leverage our words to build trust with ourselves and with others. I love what Andy Crouch says in his book, Strong and Weak, Embracing a Life of Love, Risk, and Flourishing. Brew coffee or tea. Sit with a friend and ask them questions. Questions just one step riskier than the last time you talked. And as you listen, observe the flickers of sadness or hope that crosses their face. Try to imagine what it must be like to live their story, suffer their losses, dream their dreams. Pray with them and dare to put into words their heart's desire and dare to ask God to grant them. This is a great quote, and it helps us to engage with conversation with others. This is what the power, purpose, and promise of words is all about. It's about listening well, truly noticing and discerning the needs of others, reading the room, and when needed and necessary, daring to breathe life into the heart's desires of others through the use of our words. That is why God gave us the breaths that we have, and that is one of the many ways we can make the most of our moments.